21st of August, 2015. Welcome back to Cinema Cycle. Today we continue the trilogy of the Russ Meyer great films known as the Vixen Collection. Nice tits. Anyway, did the first one yesterday. That was Vixen. Today is Ultra Vixens. Do you see the theme here? The interesting thing you always see in Meyer films is this concept of sexual frustration. There's a lot of visual voluptuousness, a lot of implied nudity, a lot of implied sex. You don't see anything though. But it's always frustrated sex. It's not really like, oh, we're on love and we're going to make love. It's always like, oh, I have erectile dysfunction, I'm getting revenge sex, I'm doing this, and so the sex isn't really erotic. It's, it's visually erotic, but the story behind it and what's going on is actually kind of tense and kind of depressing in certain aspects. In a lot of aspects of Meyer's work, it's violent. There's a lot of violence going on here, a lot of implied rape, a lot of implied beating, which is... Again, it's like salt, pepper. It's like you want to find this erotic, but at the same time, it's not erotic because the reality of life is not that pleasant sometimes. One of the dreamlike things about Meyer films is that they all usually take off or take place in some kind of remote area where there's just wide open space. And in this particular one, which is Super Vixens, the main protagonist, the guy who every woman wants to go to bed with, but he doesn't want to have anything to do with, he basically hitchhikes everywhere. It's like there's some scene, and then it usually involves sex, it's not consummated, there's some kind of violence at the end of the sex, he runs away, and he immediately finds a car to hitchhike. And he goes to the next scene. Then he hitchhikes someplace else and goes to the next scene across this barren landscape. And the people who are picking him up in the cars are always friendly. Oh, I'll always give you a ride. Oh, here, cop a feel of my wife. Oh, here, do this, do this. So it's just fantasy. It's just this bizarre kind of surreal fantasy, which is why I think that Meyer is so much like the American Fellini. It's just, this is kind of surreal. You believe it, but it's like, this could never really happen.